This is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, I'm going to share with you guys why I would rather buy a $40 blender. Yes, it is $40 right now, but you got to act fast. These guys are going to disappear real quick. So if you want to buy one, link right down below in the description, as well as the first comment that I've pinned for you guys. And why I'd rather have a $40 blender that I just got literally in the mail versus a $400 Vitamix blender. You're like thinking, John, you're crazy. How is a $40 blender better than a $400 Vitamix that many of you guys already may own? Now here's the thing. While the Vitamix has a more powerful motor, definitely a better warranty, they've been selling them for a long time, they're quite durable, sharp blades, performs well. What Vitamix does not have is a vacuum container. A vacuum container, to me, makes all the difference when blending. What a vacuum container does on your blender is you get to suck out the excess oxygen before you blend, and then you blend in an oxygen-deprived environment. Blending in an oxygen-deprived environment takes your smoothies to the next level that you've never experienced, because never before in the world has there been vacuum blenders. I mean, I think they first got introduced in 2017, I believe, is when I first saw them at the trade show. And I've been probably the #1 person on YouTube promoting vacuum blending to you guys. And if you guys haven't made the move to get a vacuum blender, right, this video is for you guys, because I'm not here to try to sell you a blender I sell. I sell high-end vacuum blenders. The best one on the market right now at this time is the Dynapro vacuum blender. It's $600. Surely you could buy that if you want. Link down below to videos I've made about the Dynapro vacuum blender. It's my favorite vacuum blender that is on the market right now. That being said, I've also had other videos where I compare and share with you guys a $55 vacuum blender, link down below to that video, and I compare it against a $400 Vitamix and why I'd rather have the $55 vacuum blender. But now I get to bring you guys a $40 vacuum blender. Maybe some of you guys couldn't afford that $55 vacuum blender, didn't take my recommendations for you guys that you guys should buy it before they disappear, and they did disappear and they're not going to be available again. But now there's a new one on the market that you guys could get for 40 bucks, right? That I want you guys to buy right now, because I want you guys to experience the power of vacuum blending. The main reason why vacuum blending is superior to traditional blending in a standard blender in an oxygen-rich environment is when you're blending, there's a photo vortex. It's like a tornado. It's sucking air into your mixture. That means when you're done with your mixture, your blender mixture is a bit more because you've added a lot of dissolved oxygen into your mixture. When you're adding dissolved oxygen into, at the same time that you're blowing open cell walls of the produce, you're losing antioxidant vitamins as proven by science. Things like vitamin A and vitamin C and certain polyphenols that are oxygen sensitive can be reduced by 2 to 3 times. In addition, you're going to be swallowing lots of extra air, which means you're going to be more prone to getting bloating, gas, and belching because of the extra air you're swallowing. Needless air that you do not need to be swallowing because they now have vacuum blenders. In addition, vacuum blenders, the mixtures don't separate as quickly. You're going to retain a better color. You're going to have a stronger flavor, better flavors, and more nutrition. And the more nutrition thing is really important to me, as well as if you're a photographer and you want to take pretty pictures, your blended mixtures done in a vacuum is going to retain more colors, which means better Instagram photos for you guys as well. So vacuum blending is essential for somebody into their health. Now, if you're making margaritas or making mixed drinks with alcohol, I'd say save your money, don't buy a vacuum blender. But if you guys are doing this for your health like I am, get a vacuum blender and buy this $40 vacuum blender. I literally just got this in the mail, $40. It's on eBay right now. And let me tell you more about this. This is the Ikich sous vide countertop blender. It's the vacuum blender. It's a model CP211A. So this is what I think happened with the Ikich and why they are now on sale for $40 delivered to the United States. I think probably 48 states anyways, because this came UPS ground, is this. Ikich is a company over in China. They started importing kitchen products into the United States and to sell on Amazon. They tried to sell them on Amazon, and like a lot of Chinese companies, they don't do any promotion to, create awareness about their products. They basically went out of business or something like that. I'm not sure if they went out of business or they stopped selling this product, and they basically unloaded the product to like clearance wholesale outlets because this product, when it originally came out on Amazon, was $100 to $120. Then they just got rid of all the inventory because Amazon charges them inventory to hold the inventory, charges them like a monthly fee, you know, to have the inventory and then to ship it out. They weren't selling them because they didn't promote them, they didn't market them, and unfortunately for, you know, most of America, all the major companies have discontinued their vacuum blenders. So they're going to be hard to find unless you get a, you know, brand like Tribest or Kuvings that are, you know, solid on vacuum blenders, and they're not going to stop. So then basically these got ditched to eBay. Now you can buy them for $40. Granted, I'll be the first to tell you guys probably aren't going to get a warranty with this, and aside from the eBay return policy, once you bought it, you own it. But $40 is a small investment to make in your health for the potential return you could get on this blender. I personally don't know how long this blender will last. Will I use it once? Will it blow up? Will it not work tomorrow? I mean, it seems like a pretty solid unit to me, and I should get at least a couple years use out of it. But that being said, I use my high-end vacuum blender at home, but this would be a perfect size for a travel vacuum blender for me, for that matter. So anyways, that's what's up with this video. Link down below to buy this before they run out, because when they're out, and they will not be getting any more anytime soon. And this is already at, you know, literally 1/3 the price of how much it came out at its peak on Amazon when it sold for $120. You could get it for $40. So as you guys can see, the Vitamix towers over the Ikich. I mean, this is just a lot larger, has a lot larger capacity, but the question is, do you need all that capacity? And I would say it depends. If you have a large family, maybe you need the capacity, but if you're just a single person or two people, you could, you know, be fine with the smaller capacity. And the other thing you could do, you just do 2 batches instead of 1 huge batch. And generally in smaller batches, things blend up a little bit more effectively. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say this is the best blender in the world. I'm going to say it's the best $40 vacuum blender because they've never been that cheap for a blender of this quality. It has 1,000 watts of power, and it has also some built-in safety features. So the machine will not come on unless you have the carafe assembled on the top of the unit. If you take this carafe off the top, the blender turns off. In addition, this is your blender jar. It's BPA free and measures up to 53 ounces, which is the max fill line. You don't want to fill above that. To remove it, you got to pull this little tab here and then lift up. And generally, you should probably align that arrow with the arrow on top of the handle here to get it going. In addition, you have a bottom. This bottom is removable, unlike on the Vitamix, so you just basically twist it off. And you have the blade assembly that you can easily clean. But the other thing you get is you get another carafe. So you could do a carafe here, and you can actually just blend on this portable carafe on here. But now when you're using this carafe, you don't get the vacuum blend. And then you can just basically put this on top of the unit and then, you know, blend in this alone. Kind of makes it more like a NutriBullet, which is kind of handy, but once again, I don't like that this is not vacuum blended. So let's go ahead and put this back on the main carafe here with the vacuum sealing lid here up on the top. Now the other thing you could do with this carafe or a little container is, besides blending in it, is they give you a special lid that you can then use this lid to put on top and then use their vacuum pump. I really like this vacuum pump. It's the smallest, you know, self-contained vacuum pump I've seen. It has a little cover on the bottom, so you'll need to remove that. It actually has a built-in battery that charges, so it's cordless. It has basically a micro USB port to charge it, so you'll like the cord that comes with your cell phone. And then you could put this on top of the little container here, press the button. The pump comes on and sucks out all the extra oxygen out of this container, so now you can have a to-go cup, you know, when you're done. So you can make your blended mixture in here, pour it in here, and then vacuum seal it, or turn that off prematurely. And then just have it in here to go, and now you're vacuum sealed. Keep this cold, that's going to store fresh for longer. I have kept the vacuum on this jar for a couple days actually, and it kept the vacuum on it without losing the vacuum, which is quite impressive to me. So that's quite handy. How this works is you're just gonna go ahead and fill up your mixture in there, and you're gonna put the vacuum pump on here, press the button, and it's gonna suck out all the excess oxygen. So now when you're blending in an oxygen deprived environment. So the first thing I want to do for you guys is actually give you guys an example of how this vacuum blender works, and also do one of my first tests to see how well it grinds up flax seeds in a flax meal. I encourage you guys to eat flax seeds on a regular basis. They're high in omega-3 fatty acids, In addition, there's studies that show maybe the lignans in there can help with, you know, fighting things like cancer and breast cancer specifically, even maybe regulate menstrual cycles potentially. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and take the carafe and we're just going to go ahead and drop in some flax seeds. This is a common test I do on other vacuum blenders to check its performance and see how sharp the blades are in dry conditions. We're going to go ahead and put the lid on. First step for vacuum blending, we're going to go ahead and take that pump, put it right on the top, press the button. The button will come on, and then it's going to turn blue while it's sucking out all the excess oxygen out of the carafe. I did have to charge this for several hours. It basically blinks when it's charging, and when it's done charging, it'll be a solid color. The pump is nice and strong. It's sucking all the oxygen out. Meanwhile, while this is going, we can lock it into the base. There's a little arrow here with a lock and unlock that you want to line up with the arrow here and drop that right in. And you can then turn it to the lock position. And once you put it in the lock position, then you can go ahead and press the on button, but we're not going to press any buttons yet until it's fully vacuumed. Now, one of the things I don't like about the Ikich is that it's not super easy to use non-pre-programmed functions. You have this one button that's called pulse or extra that you can use it to do manual blends, but otherwise you have these buttons here. Most of the buttons will work when you're using the standard carafe, but a few of the buttons will only work if you're using the smaller carafe for blending the personal size. Once that vacuum shuts off, we're going to put it on, press it one more time. Let it suck a little more air out and see how much it pulls down. Then it stops, so we got a good vacuum on there. We'll remove this. Now we're going to go ahead and hit the nut and flour button because we want to turn this into like a flour. And let it go. Alright, so I ran it for partial of the cycle and also shook it up a little bit as I'm blending, so I got a little bit better agitation. Next step is we're going to go ahead and put it into my jar with my pre-ground flax seeds. I always like to have these available because I find that if I have them pre-ground, stored, I will actually just use them and eat them a lot more often, which I believe to be a good thing to make sure your omega-3 to 6 balance stays in line, because most people eat far too many omega-6s and most people will be benefited by eating more omega-3s. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove the carafe right off. And we're going to tap this down and get all these flax seeds dislodged. What we're going to do now is we're going to lift off and let the vacuum back in, let the air back in. Listen carefully. It's a pretty good vacuum there. Lift that top out. Generally when I lift the top out, I like to push up while I'm lifting the tab, otherwise it's an airlock in there. Next step is, I like to take a sieve, put this over my my jar that holds my flax seeds, and we're just going to go ahead and pour the flaxseed meal that we just made in to the sieve. Alright, now that we got the jar pretty clean, we're just going to go ahead and then shake this through the sieve, kind of like I'm sifting flour to see all the loose stuff that goes through the sieve, and see how much left over we got caught in the sieve that did not get blended. Alright, I think I got it all through there. That's how much we have left. You know, all these seeds have been cracked. It looks like there's very few seeds that are still intact and whole. Maybe if you ran it a little bit longer, they'd blend more. But for me, basically, this blender performed quite well and had really good action and really got a nice fine powder. It did an excellent job, especially for a $40 blender. Now, the next step I want to do for you guys is show you guys how you could store the items that you make in this blender in a mason jar under vacuum. To do that, you'll need a mason jar with the lids that they come with. So we could put that on top, and if you just look at that now, it just flips off because it's not under vacuum. This pump cannot just suck a vacuum on the lid alone. What you will need is an adapter. This is called the Food Saver Wide Mouth adapter. That's the one I'd recommend for you guys. I don't think the narrow mouth is going to work with this pump, so you got to get the wide mouth. We put this on top, then we put the pump on top of the Food Saver jar adapter. Press the button. As the pump comes on, it's sucking the extra oxygen out of the jar between the lid and the rim of the lid. Between the rim of the jar and the lid comes out and goes into the vacuum pump. You want to make sure you're fully centered on here, otherwise it's not going to work. Oh, and then you hear that click? That's the clip so that it's basically sucking the extra air out. So that means it's working good. And if it's working good, you can see we could pull up on this. It's sucking the air out because we have a good seal. If you don't have it lined up properly, it's not going to work properly. Go ahead and shut it off. Comes out, and now we can pull this off. And now we could tip this upside down, and this is stuck in. And if you got to get this out, you got to get your nails underneath there and listen carefully. Sound of freshness. Air rushing back in. We've preserved our ground up flax seeds in an oxygen deprived environment so they won't go rancid as quickly. Super cool. You could do that with this vacuum pump that's included with this $40 vacuum blender. So we learned that the Ikich performs satisfactorily when grinding flax seeds to my personal needs. The vacuums have been working quite well. The next thing I just really want to show you guys the difference that vacuum blending could make when you're blending anything. Especially important when blending your vegetables and fruits that contain high levels of antioxidant nutrients. What I'm doing today is I put some filtered water, reverse osmosis, into the blender with some tomatoes. I use 5 tomatoes total, but each blender basically got 2.5 tomatoes worth, approximately even amounts, but this is not a yield testing. This is just to show you guys the difference vacuum blending can make. We got the tomatoes and the water in there. Next thing is we got to put this pump on the top, and we're going to suck out the extra oxygen before we blend. Vacuum blending, guys, makes such a difference. It is so incredible, and I know a lot of you guys watching this have a traditional blender now. This is going in one ear and coming out the other. That can't make a big difference, John. Well, think about it. Many of you guys may already own a food saver or buy foods in bulk, and then when you buy foods in bulk, you store it, and when you store it, you suck out the extra oxygen in the container that you're storing your food from, and it lasts 2 to 10 times longer, right? If you guys freeze your bananas to make frozen banana sorbet, if you just put them in the fridge in a Ziploc, right, they turn brown. How I store my bananas is I use a vacuum pump to basically vacuum seal my bananas, and then they look as good the day I pull them out as the day I put them in, and they're not oxidizing. That's the power of oxygen and the degradation it can cause, and that happens at a much faster pace when you are basically blown open cell walls with the blade inside a blender. Alright, so the pump shut off. We're going to go ahead and put it back on the top and press it again. I think this pump registers by like how much it's pulling, not necessarily the length of time, so that's a sign of a good pump. Now I got both blenders on. We're just going to go ahead and put them both on the high setting. I mean, this one doesn't have a high. We're just going to do saute soup. Figure that's going to be pretty high. All right, let's go ahead and turn them both off, and let's see what we got. I'm going to pour one there, one here, so you guys can see the differences vacuum blending can make. So over on the Vitamix side, pour this mixture out. Nice and smooth, no big chunks, really nice. I'm not seeing any kind of seeds that did not get blended up in there. Nice job on the Vitamix. I mean, they definitely got a good sharp blade. Let's go ahead and pull this apart. So the thing on this, it's a little bit difficult to kind of undo, so you got to kind of hold it and kind of really kind of force it because it kind of locks in place. Next, we're going to go ahead and let the air back in. Let the air back in. And now we're going to go ahead and pour this mixture out, done under vacuum. Can you guys see the difference between those? Look at the color difference for number one, right? Which one is darker, right? Which one is darker? The vacuum blended side is much darker. Look at that. I'll give you guys a close-up on there, right? This one's much darker. Why is it darker? Because this one, the tomatoes have been basically blasted with air. If you guys look closely, you can see air bubbles kind of like bubbling up to the top in between all the fine particles. Lots of air. In this guy, I mean, I'm really not seeing, like, I'm seeing parts of seed, so it didn't maybe blend as finely as the Vitamix. But what I'm not seeing is air bubbles coming up from the bottom to the top. In addition, you guys can see there's a little foam layer on the top. On this, there's maybe a few bubbles on top, but there's not a big foam layer. Of course, the color's better as well. I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put these aside of the video while I demo the Ikich a little bit more so you guys can see the differences over time that these two mixtures will have. All right, next thing I want to do for you guys is actually do a blender testing of how well the action is in the carafe. One of the things that's very important to me to have in a blender, two things. Number one, have nice sharp blades, which these appear to be fairly sharp based on the flaxseed test. Number two, having a carafe that is conducive to kind of like pushing things into the blade instead of having things go around the blade and not get blended up. That's the main benefit of the long and tall Vitamix carafe, because there's, the blade that pretty much fills the bottom of the carafe. You get pretty good blade action, and when you're using a Vitamix wider carafe, for example, the blades don't extend to the edge, and then sometimes things could fall below and come up and actually not get blended. So that's the purpose of this test, which we'll be also using the sieve to check out to see what did not get blended. So we're just going to go ahead and put in some coconut water into the carafe there. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and put 4 hazelnuts, freshly cracked, into the blender. Sometimes I'll find the nuts will go around the blades. When I blend up nuts, I want them to turn into cream, into the liquid. The other thing we're going to put 2 leaves from my garden. This is simulate like a green smoothie to see. And I just basically will just cut these into smaller pieces so they could easily, get blended up actually in the blender. Next, we're going to go ahead and put on the lid, making sure the little arrow is lined up with the arrow on top of the handle. And then finally, we put on our vacuum pump and let it go to town to suck out the excess oxygen before we blend. Now, while this is sucking the oxygen, I want to let you guys know straight up that there is no financial benefit for me to tell you guys to buy this vacuum blender. Actually, it might be a negative benefit because you're not going to buy a vacuum blender for me. But here's the thing, guys. I don't really care. I mean, yes, if you're going to buy a vacuum blender and you're going to get a good one, please get it for me. But what I'm doing in this video is I really want you guys that haven't experienced vacuum blending to spend $40 of your hard-earned money to get a vacuum blender, even if it's not the best in the world, but you guys can experience the vacuum blending. Look at the difference between these two guys right here. They've been sitting here. Look at this. This one still maintains its exact color. This one's still aerated and even separating at the bottom. And we're gonna try this in a little bit after we're done with this demo. And I'll show you guys my opinions of the flavor and the taste, all right? So the pump shut off. Once again, put it back on, press it one more time, shut off again, turn this machine on, and now we're gonna go ahead and I guess hit the smoothie extra button. Runs for 1 minute. All right, shut right off. Let's go ahead and take this off. Let's let the air back in. Let's go ahead and pop this top off. Let's go ahead and once again pour it through our sieve to see how much did not get blended. All right, so I'm tapping this mixture through. And look at that, guys. That's pretty impressive. Like, there's no big major pieces of nuts. Let's go ahead and try this, see what it tastes like. That's what's left. Got like 2 bits of nuts in there. It's actually ground up to a finally pretty fine consistency. I did tap through a lot of the big particulate into this smoothie. Let's go ahead and try this. Wow. Gotta give that a thumbs up or passing grade on the wet blend of greens and nuts. So now I'm ready for the next test. The next test is a frozen smoothie test to see if it's gonna grind up all the frozen fruits really good. Once again, we got our coconut water, about 9 ounces, going right in the blender. We got our bananas that have been vacuum sealed. Look at that. These bananas look totally perfect because they're vacuum sealed. Very important if you guys are going to store bananas, vacuum seal them like I'm showing you guys here. We're going to go ahead and open up this. And we're going to go ahead and take out one of the bananas. We're going to go ahead and throw that into the blender. Just dump it in half. Then I'm going to show you guys how to re-vacuum this bag. So these bags you guys get on Amazon. We're gonna close this bag. You gotta get a bag with the vacuum port. See that little vacuum port? You're gonna go ahead and put this vacuum pump that came with your $40 blender. Sometimes vacuum pumps alone could cost 40 bucks. Put it on this hole, hold it down, and very slowly the air will start to get sucked out of the bag. And this pump works very slowly because it's not the world's best pump, but it is in fact pulling out the oxygen out of the container. If you guys could see this, the bag is like literally shrinking up, and the air is being sucked out, so it's basically tightening up around the bananas, and then the pump automatically shuts off. We could put it back down there and press it one more time. Shuts off again, showing you guys that we have this vacuum sealed. Once again, amazing things you could do with the power of the vacuum pump. Now, besides the bananas, which are a great inexpensive food to make smoothies with, I encourage you guys to ramp it up and use things like berries in your smoothies. So what I have here are some blueberries that I froze that have a little bit of freezer burn because they were not vacuum stored. Look at that. Freezer burn happens in non-vacuum stored. But if I should have vacuum stored this, it wouldn't have happened because I did this a long time before I started doing vacuum blending stuff. So we're just gonna go ahead and dump all that in there, add some extra liquid in there too. Plus I could use up the rest of these organic blueberries that I've had in my freezer for a while. Final thing, we're gonna use some top grade ingredients. This stuff is amazing, guys. Purple dragon fruit. This is a frozen dragon fruit, organic from Costco, super inexpensive, super nutritious, and it's purple. I wanna encourage you guys to eat more purple foods. We're gonna put in some of these little, they're like ice cube, kind of like dragon fruit chunks there. And we're gonna go ahead and put on that lid, line up the arrows on the lid, put our pump on the top. We're gonna let that run and suck out all the oxygen while I get these back in the freezer so they don't melt. All right, let's suck out the air one more time to make sure it's all sucked out. We're sucked out really good. Turn this blender on, and what are we gonna hit today? Maybe we'll hit Smoothie Extra. Wait, the Smoothie Extra button doesn't work. That's because I think the Smoothie Extra button only works when you got this smaller carafe on. So what we're gonna hit instead is we're just gonna hit the ice cream button, since we're kind of doing an ice cream. Turn it up to 1:50 and it cuts down automatically, and it'll turn itself off so that you don't have to. Oh, looks like it's already blended up pretty good. We got a nice thick smoothie, man. It's working hard. All right, shut itself off automatically. Looks like it blended up this mixture without any issues. Let's go ahead once again. Let the air back in. Let's go ahead and lift this top off and let's see what we got. Look at this nice smoothie coming right out. Nice and thick smoothie coming right out of the Ikich. Look at that, nice and deep purple. Wow. One amazing smoothie. The texture is just perfect. If I did anything, I'd probably run it maybe a little bit less as long. I'd let it run the whole cycle. I probably would have let it maybe cut off an extra half a minute. It still would have been nice and smooth. Did an excellent job. Excellent smoothie. Now we're all set up and ready for the last demonstration I want to do with you guys today in the Ikich vacuum blender. Once again, $40. Buy it now. Not going to tell you guys again. Maybe I will. Link down below. Anyways, put on the lid. We got this basically filled up with peeled tangerines. We got one cucumber and a whole bunch of fresh arugula picked from my garden. We're going to make sure we put this on the top without getting any of the leaves to mess up the little seal there. Looks pretty good. We're going to go ahead and put that vacuum pump on and let her rip and suck out the oxygen out of the carafe. Well, that's going. I know what you're thinking, John, how could you vacuum juice in a vacuum blender? Blenders blend and juicers juice. And I know a lot of you guys think blenders are better than juicing because you keep all the fiber. Well, there are pros and cons to keeping all the fiber. The pro is you're keeping all the fiber. The con is you don't get as fast an uptake and your body may not absorb as much of certain phytonutrients that are in the foods. In addition, when you remove some of the fiber, besides getting greater uptake, you can also get more of the fruits and vegetables in you. All right, so the pump shut off. Gonna go ahead and put that back on. Press it one more time. Let it suck out, turn the machine on. And I think this time we will go ahead and press the nuts and flour button. All right, blend it, starting to blend those tangerines right on up. right, so a blended on the cycle. It could be a little bit better blended, so we're gonna go ahead and press the pulse extra button. This is the manual button that you may have on here. I guess you just hold it down and then it starts to pulse and you can kind of put it on and let it go when you're done. All right, and shut it off. And now we have, pull it off, let the air back in. You can see the level go down. Fibers expand when you're vacuum blending, so it is said you get better, blending capabilities. There's our liquid, but this is technically a smoothie at this point, so we want to remove some, but not all the fiber. So to do that, we're going to need a 2-quart Anchor Hocking jar, and we will need to use these things that I like called Alexa's nut milk bags. Alexa's nut milk or juice bags are the best juice bags or nut milk bags that money can buy. That of all the ones I've tested to date, they are oversized. They're the only BPA safe certified juicing bags you could buy. They're ultrasonically welded in the USA and have a 1-year replacement guarantee should they break or fail on you, which is totally amazing. There's no string channels in there. They're oversized, so they easily fit over this 2-quart Anchor Hocking glass measuring cup, and they're really easy to use. So 2-pack available at alexasbags.com. They do send me a little commission when you do purchase at Alexa's Bags because I am helping them with their marketing. All right. That being said, I don't get any money should you buy this on eBay. I'm doing this because I want you guys to know about vacuum blending, and I want my followers to get the amazing deal on this and not just some random people off the street because they don't really know the power of vacuum blending. So we got an Alexa's bag right here. Actually, I got it turned inside out, so we're going to turn it right side out. Then we're going to go ahead and line it in our glass Anchor Hocking bowl here. And I like that it fits fully over the top, just like that. Check it out. And now we're going to pour in our mixture. I always like to use this handy dandy spatula to make sure I get every last bit out of the blender carafe. On this carafe on the bottom here, a little bit, and this kind of a little bit difficult to get around the blades because the blades almost extend to the edge of the carafe, which actually could be a good thing for blending, but maybe a bad thing for your spatula because you could nick up your spatula with the blades, which would not be good in my opinion. But everything is coming out pretty easy out of this carafe, although you do have nice 4 flutes that kind of get in the way from easily spatula-ing, is that a word, everything out. All right, so once we've got all the liquid into the bag, next step is we just need to press it out. We're just gonna squeeze out all the juice and retain some of the fiber in the bag. Now the juice that comes out contains the soluble fiber. This is the fiber that dissolves in water. The fiber that's gonna be kept in the bag is the insoluble fiber or the hard fiber. It's said that the insoluble fiber is the kind of fiber that basically helps keep things moving through your intestines. And so that's important to have. But more important to me is the soluble fiber that the juice is keeping. Everybody always says juice removes all the fiber. No, it removes a percentage of the fiber depending on what the fruit or vegetable is. For example, if you juice jicama or carrots, it's about 50% fiber that you still will be retaining. But if you juice pineapple, that only contains 10% soluble fiber. If you're juicing something like kohlrabi, I think that's like 66% soluble fiber, so you're retaining most of the fiber when you're juicing kohlrabi. When's the last time you ate kohlrabi? Kohlrabi is an amazing brassica stem vegetable I want you guys to eat more often. All right, so as you guys can see, this is going quickly and easily. All right, so I think I've squeezed out all the juice out of this bag. There's a juice, and let's go ahead. I always like to shake the bag down, get all the fiber down the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and dump out this fiber, see what we got. All right, look at that fiber. All broken down. Now, you could eat this fiber if you wanted. Mild citrus flavor. Doesn't taste bad today, just kind of tastes neutral, not like you're eating nothing. I really like the Ikich did a really good job breaking down those fibers. Next, let's go ahead and try this juice. See how it did. Vacuum juicing in a $40 vacuum blender. You're not gonna see this anywhere else online except my channel, because I'm like the I was the first guy introducing vacuum blending in the US to the US market, and I continue to promote vacuum blending because I believe strongly that it can make a difference in your life, increase the amount of nutrients you get, also decrease the gas and bloating and discomfort you get from drinking normal smoothies, which means that if you're gonna drink more smoothies because of that, I've done my job so that you can eat more fruits and vegetables. All right, let's go ahead and try vacuum juiced produce. That's good. Those mandarins were like juice quality to me because I tried to eat them and I'm like, these aren't that sweet. But when I turn them into juice, remove some of the fiber, add some cucumber and some arugula in there, boy, this juice really hits the spot. So what did we learn in this episode? We learned that the Ikich vacuum blender is now $40 on eBay. It originally cost $120, so that's 1/3 the price. And that includes shipping, guys. I don't know if you guys priced shipping lately, but I don't even know how they're getting this to you and still making money at 40 bucks. That's below wholesale cost in my personal opinion, but I never saw the FOB price on the Ikich vacuum blender. The next thing we learned is that it does quite a sufficient job at grinding flax seeds into flax powder, so you guys can get a better uptake of omega-3 fatty acids and not having them go rancid in the grinding process. More importantly, storing them under vacuum so you can prevent them from going rancid while they are waiting to be eaten. The next thing we learned is that the tomatoes, look at the difference in the tomato juice, guys. This is insane. This is the tomato juice made in the vacuum blender. Pretty much looks the same. Look at the texture on that when I pour it, right? It's nice and liquidy. I'll try that for you guys. Tastes like blended tomatoes. But next, let's compare that to the Vitamix, right? The Vitamix is separated, it's all congealed. If I try to pour that, look at that. It's just one big glob if I drink that. Oh, man. It tastes like you're drinking like foam. I mean, this is like foam. You're drinking like foam. There's no flavor to this stuff because it's separated out. All the good stuff separated out at the bottom. Meanwhile, this still tastes good. Guys, come on. Stop traditionally blending. Get this vacuum blender. Don't wait. Huge difference. Of course, the next demo I did for you guys was blending nuts with greens in the vacuum blender to see how well it ground down. It definitely passed my tests with flying colors. The next step is we did a frozen smoothie. It totally worked great. Grinded up all the frozen fruits. And finally, we did vacuum blending in the Ikich with the Alexa's bags, which also did a fabulous job. You also saw how this vacuum pump can vacuum seal mason jars with a food saver vacuum attachment. You also saw how you can vacuum seal your bananas in vacuum sealable bags with this pump as well. I mean, here's the thing, guys. This is the best 40 bucks you guys will ever spend on a vacuum blender or a appliance, a kitchen appliance that can positively impact your health. That's why I'm making this video, because I want my videos and my voice to make a difference in your lives. I have over 700 videos on this channel and I have 2 other channels too that I strive to make a difference in your lives and inch you along so that you could become better in your life and what you're doing. And I could have you realize things that I've realized, sometimes even long ago, so that you guys could have a better life because of me. Honestly, I'm telling you guys, person to person, don't wait. Buy this vacuum blender before they sell out. They may sell out soon. I have no idea how many are left in stock. By the time you're watching this, they may already be gone. I'll try to keep this post updated with a link to other vacuum blenders that may be cheaper and inexpensive. Because here's the thing, guys. I want you guys to experience vacuum blending. Even if this thing doesn't last too long, while it is working, you will see the difference. You will taste the difference. You will experience the difference. And now you will be a voice for change in the world. Also, hopefully telling others about this crazy guy John told me about vacuum blending. I did it because it was only 40 bucks and oh my gosh, it has changed my life. I make better smoothies, I make better juices, I make better everything because this dude John, he helped me out, and now I want to share with my friends about vacuum blending so that it could get out to more people, because it's unfortunate that most manufacturers in the industry are discontinuing and no longer selling vacuum blenders because they don't think it's going to sell well, because they've never taken the time to educate people like I have done for you guys in this video. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. I cannot claim any responsibility if you guys get one, it blows up, or if it doesn't work or it's effective. Hey, you got your eBay warranty, and if you're really concerned by the eBay extended warranty thing that they're going to try to sell you, that's all I'm going to say. But I'm going to say this is a good solid unit, and for 40 bucks, it's a no-brainer, especially for this pump. It's not the world's strongest pump, because I have compared it to like my high-end pumps. It does not pull as much vacuum by any means, but it is a solid performer to get your foot in the door so that you can start vacuum blending today. Now, the final thing I would say is on the last recipe, I did see it maybe bog down the motor a little bit, because I did fill it up with a lot of fiber, so there's more resistance on the blade than some of the other recipes that I did in this episode. So, I would not recommend this. If you're really going to go hardcore and blend super thick and rich stuff, I'm going to have to test it more to learn about that. But for all basic purposes, for a basic person, not doing anything super hardcore, I think this is a solid performing unit, and you guys should buy it before they run out. I think that's all I got to say. I got to clean up this mess, and I'm going to get to enjoy my green juice made in the Ikich vacuum blender. And hey, for you guys out there, I want to encourage you guys, thumb this video up. I went out of my way to buy the blender because I don't need another vacuum blender. God knows I have too many vacuum blenders in my house right now. But I really bought this just to show you guys that it is available right now, so that I can make a difference in your guys' lives. And if you guys appreciate me for doing this, hey, thumbs this video up. Helps out the YouTube algorithm. Get this video out to more people so that they can learn about the power of vacuum blending. Also, be sure to share this video with other people that are into eating healthy on different raw food forums, different nutrient-dense eating forums, on different plant-based forums. People that want to consume more phytonutrient-rich berries and greens and other plant foods. This is definitely a machine you gotta want to buy because of the vacuum blend capabilities. So you being able to help me share this on your social media platforms helps me get this video out to more people, so that I can have a greater impact on the world just using my voice and buying a vacuum blender, and thanks to you guys as well. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below. If you enjoyed this video, my content, please click subscribe and make sure you click that little bell to get notified as my new videos come out. I'm always coming out every week with a new episode where you never know what you're going to learn or what new game-changing information you guys are going to hear on my videos that literally you're not going to hear anywhere else. Also, be sure to check my past episodes. The past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 700 videos at this time on this YouTube channel dedicated to teach you guys all about how to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables and even get them into you in healthier ways, such as vacuum blending. A couple links down below to other vacuum blenders I have reviewed and used in the past in case you guys want to get an upgrade and get something better than this. But once again, this is a good starter blender. And actually, I like the compact format, so this will probably be my vacuum travel blender. I especially like the, portable, rechargeable pump on there. So with that, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables and vacuum blended juices and smoothies. They're always the best.